You ever had one of those weeks where you wake up, pour your coffee, and by the time you take your first sip, you've already lost a couple $1,000s? That's how mine started the day my mailman, who's usually just a friendly wave and a "how's your pond holding up," handed me an envelope so thick and self-important, it felt like it might fine me just for opening it. I'm talking about a letter from the Oakwood Preserve HOA Gold Script. Official seal the whole 9 yards, accusing me a retired Army welder who's lived on this land since back when Elvis was king of hoarding Springwater and creating a hydraulic hazard for their shiny $1 million homes down the hill. Yeah, that happened. The new president, Lisa Minort, but everyone around here calls her Clipboard Karen. She'd slap me with a $2, $750 fine, and just to sweeten the pot, stapled a stack of drone photos to the back. Not pictures from the road, mind you, but aerial shots from a drone buzzing over my property without so much as a knock on the door. It felt less like neighborly concern and more like I was being scoped out by the CIA. Let me back up a sec. My pond isn't just some puddle. It's a spring-fed system I spent a summer sweating over, built it by hand, followed every county code, got it signed off by the same Dale from the county water office, who still remembers my coffee order. That pond's been there since '92, protecting their precious subdivision from flash floods for decades. And now I'm public enemy number one because Clipboard Karen wants to build her legacy by raising community standards, even if that means inventing a crisis on land she doesn't even own. At first I tried to play it smart. I called Dale, who practically laughed out loud. "Harlan, you're as legal as rain. Forget about them, they can't touch you." That should have been it, right? I scanned the original blueprint sent over my last inspection report and wrote a professional, polite email explaining the pond's history. I thought it was over simple misunderstanding. Wrong. 2 days later, I get this ice-cold reply. "Your documents are irrelevant. Our records show your permit expired in 2015. You are in violation. Permit." What permit? I dug through my files, 30 years of water reports, surveys, you name it. And nowhere, not once, is there any permit expiring in 2015. The number they gave me didn't even match the county's format. That's when it clicked. This wasn't a paperwork mistake. It was a flat-out lie, a forged document stamped with the name of an engineer who'd already retired before the ink was supposedly dry. As if on cue, my nephew Jesse, the family's resident tech wizard/firefighter, sends me a Facebook post, anonymous, dramatic music drone footage of my pond, and a caption straight out of a disaster movie. "Uphill landowner, hoarding water, putting our homes and children at risk." The comments underneath a full-on digital pitchfork mob. Strangers calling me a menace, demanding immediate action. Now let me tell you something, I've dealt with my share of bullies, both in uniform and out. And when someone tries to use your own integrity against you, you get real calm, real fast. I filed a public records request certified mail, all legal, demanding every scrap of HOA paperwork with my name on it. Meanwhile, I marched right into the county office, found Dale, and showed him the fake permit. He just shook his head, led me back to the archives, and together we spent 2 hours proving what I already knew: their permit was pure fiction. A week later, the HOA responds, most of it blacked out, redacted for privacy, but in the middle is the fake permit itself, with a forged signature from Bill Patterson, a good man who'd retired 2 years before the date on the dock. That was my smoking gun. But the real kicker, an email they forgot to redact Lisa to her board. He's not even in the HOA. Let's push hard. It wasn't about flood risk. It was a straight-up power grab. So I rallied the troops. Jesse brought his drone, mapped out every inch of my property line, overlaid county plat maps on the video. The gate was a full 15 feet inside my boundary. Then I called on Travis, my neighbor's kid, who was studying civil engineering. He ran the numbers, wrote up a report proving my pond actually reduced flood risk for Oakwood Preserve. By now, my file was thick as a brick. Photos, permits, maps, the whole saga. Ready for the moment, clipboard. Karen tried to play her final hand, and she did. A courier dropped off the final notice of violation. Fancy seal threats of personal liability, demands to open my pond and remove the gate or face daily fines. My response: total calm. I called Jesse, we set up a GoPro in the oak tree, logged every step, and I called Dale at the county one last time. He said, document everything. If you're complying with a written directive, your liability is zero. The risk transfers to them. That was my green light. So I did exactly what the letter demanded. Nothing more, nothing less. Posted their letter at the gate, sent copies everywhere. HOA County, my old Army buddy turned lawyer. Then I took my wrench, opened the gate just 2 inches enough to let a steady, arm-thick stream flow downhill, but not enough to flood anything yet. A few days later, it started raining just as the weather forecast had promised. But the real twist, the HOA decided this was the week to clear out the native grass buffer on their greenbelt for a spring garden fete. Hired a landscaping crew, bulldozed the only thing keeping their precious lawns from turning into a mudslide. Jesse got it all on video. By midweek, their storm drain, already choked with leaves and trash, was hopelessly clogged. Add in a burst water main from a neighbor's new swimming pool, and well, you get the picture. Saturday arrives, the day of their big party, and my porch view looks like something out of a Mark Twain novel. A wide brown lake where their green belt used to be water up to the white vinyl fences, little stakes for vendor booths poking up like drowned grave markers. My phone rings clipboard. Karen is screeching, blaming me for ruining the community, threatening lawsuits, the works. I just say, Lisa, I followed your notarized order. Everything's in writing. You wanted the water. Now you have it. Silence. Just the sound of realization smacking her across the face. That afternoon, the county's emergency drone is out scanning the flood. The news van rolls in, and by dinner, the stories on TV, neighbors complaining, county engineers on site, pointing out how the real problem wasn't me, but the illegal landscaping, the ignored drainage, the out-of-code retaining wall behind House 3. My favorite moment, the county engineer. A woman in a hard hat telling the HOA board, ma'am, you can't vote against gravity. The fallout is swift. HOA gets slapped with $85,000 and county fines insurance refuses to pay a dime. And 3 families at the bottom of the hill sue the board for damages. Lisa Menort tries to blame me at the emergency HOA meeting, waving her letter in the air, until Frank, the quiet board member, plugs in Jesse's 10-minute video and lets the footage do the talking. There's no hiding from that kind of truth. Lisa's suspended on the spot. The news does an expose. The forged permit is aired side by side with the county's statement and a TV interview from Bill Patterson himself. That's not my signature. It's a fake. The sheriff's office opens a criminal investigation for document forgery, and Lisa's power trip ends with her storming out of the next board meeting, face red, shouting at neighbors. The HOA adds a bylaw that no action against outsiders can happen without a real engineering report and a majority board vote. After the dust settles, Frank comes by to thank me. Says the flood forced them to finally fix that failing wall before a real disaster hit. The HOA hires an actual engineering firm, replants the green belt with rain gardens, and replaces the old drain with something that works. My pond's back to normal. Life's quiet again, except now when folks from those houses down the hill walk their dogs. They sometimes give me a little nod of respect. So here's my question to you. When a bully hands you the very weapon they think will destroy you, do you walk away? Or do you follow their orders to the letter and let karma, gravity, and good old-fashioned common sense do the rest? Let me know in the comments, because sometimes doing exactly what you're told is the best revenge of all. If you've ever had to fight back against injustice, drop your story below. I'd love to hear where you're watching from and what you'd have done if you were in my muddy boots.